if anybody is here to speak, there's a sign-in sheet over here. There'll be two opportunities to speak. You can speak at the beginning of the meeting, and you can also speak at the end. And we have a little thing that we read and tells you what happens when you speak. You speak your piece, and then we go back and we look at the information, and then we give your answers back to you. We don't debate subjects, and we don't, tolerate people not speaking the way you want to speak. If you'd like to speak, that's the time to do it. Since we just did the opening exercises for the Ways and Means Committee, I'm going to skip over those that were and have this meeting called Possession and Freedom of Information Act. Freedom of Information Act, Freedom of Information Act, one subject meeting, roll call, please. Commissioner Brownfield? Yes. Commissioner Brown? Commissioner Clifford? Yes. Commissioner Grant? Yes. Commissioner Lasson? Yes. Commissioner Wilson? Here. Commissioner? Yes. Okay, the election of the JICSD Commission officers. We have three officers. We have a chair, a vice, and a secretary. And having said that, we're going to proceed with anybody. I guess we're going to do the chair first.
And so I'd like to kind of turn it over to legal. We've had some discussion on the process, and we want to be able to kind of outline that before we go through the process of the election.
Hello, yes. What we're going to do is bylaws require open ballot. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass out a ballot with everyone's name assigned to them. But first, we're going to take a nomination. We're going to do it in order for chair and vice chair. In that order. But basically, for the nomination purposes, anyone can nominate someone for any position. The nomination does not need to be seconded for Robert's rule. And what we'll do is we'll pass out these ballots for each position, and based on who's nominated for that position, we'll just keep those names open and strike out all the others. And then you'll turn your ballots back in, and they will be identifiable with a name. And camera will count, and if there's a majority of votes for that, for one person, that person will be announced for that position. We'll move on to the next one. As part of the open and public, this will be incorporated into the minutes for the next meeting, so everyone whose ballot will be available and they will be able to see them. That's the plan, and it will require a majority to have a position, and if there's a tie or if there is no majority, for instance, we will continue voting in another round of ballots. That's how it is. Sure.
So it's a joint position that in the bylaws an open public ballot, that will be paper ballot.
Right. Right, because there's Robert's rule has two different ways of voting. One is by ballot, one is by roll call voting, and by voice. But ballot is a specified method. Open public is kind of, that is not defined in Robert's rules in the bylaws. But I think that the intent is that it's an open setting, and the public component of it is driven by making the ballot part of the minutes and part of the record. That will be available for everybody, and it will be your ballot will have your name on it. So it will be part of the minutes.
So ballot can be
correct.
One more question. Yeah. So how many people nominated already, or do you think in the past where the patient nomination and then after people if they don't want?
We're going to do nominating. So it's a little different thing in the past. We did it how it was everybody, typically everybody is nominated. And this is probably the cleaner way to do it. Where you just nominate somebody for a position and then vote based on that. You can certainly withdraw it, and you can also write in if you're not going to do that. But ultimately, you're voting for those people that are nominated. And what we'll ask is once you do you have names nominated for each office, they cross the other names off. For voting.
For the rules, is there anybody who's not?
There is a term, so if you two consecutive terms, then not running at all. This is the bylaw. But bylaws are amended to that.
Thank you.
All right, so what I have here, this is the ballot for chair. You'll notice your name at the top of that. So now the floor will be open to nominate the chair.
I nominate Kathy Reed. I nominate Nathan Goldman. I second it. Anyone else wanting to approve the different chairs that nomination for the second? Okay. I got it. And Mark, your hand.
Yes, sir.
Candidates. I don't like, I mean, look where we have, I like the nerve.
Well, I like to see a PSC that functions well and uses the money they have wisely. And a staff that is happy to go to work and has the equipment they need and responsive to what the public needs and works well with other municipalities and counties and other governments.
Are you sure you're ready?
Some of y'all may have been here a couple of years ago. I've been to meetings a lot years ago, but I came to the meeting to actually talk about stormwater, wastewater, and learned that night that the commission was considering ending employee retirement benefits. And that is a lot of the reason that I ran for PSB. I feel very strongly pro-employee. I have had some issues with some things that we've done the last 2 years. I'm not particularly fond of the employee handbook. I think it's heavy-handed. I don't like the direction the PSB is going presently in terms of a number of things. I don't agree with the fact that we don't have an HR director. I think that's super important in entities such as ours. I've been concerned about high turnover, employees coming and leaving. I'm concerned about pay. I'm someone who believes very strongly in a higher minimum wage. I'm looking at what the county's doing, what the city of Charleston is doing. I would like for our folks who are paid for duty to have higher wages. I have seen since I've been here and before I ran a lot of pay raises for management. Those are done. Those can't be undone. But I'd like to really look at our folks who go out and repair our pump stations, who wash our fire trucks, are starting fire recruits, our folks who help Mr. Desmond put the cans and empty them. And my vision is for us to be more employee focused rather than management focused. That's what I can say. I'm proud of our organization, I think we do excellent work, but I would like to see more focus on the employees. And that's
Thank you, sir.
And for the officer chair, we have legal, business, communication, and school and social community.
All right, so the next would be vice chair, and obviously, for nomination purposes, we cannot have, Chair Woolsey as nominated for vice chair, who is the chair.
You ready for nomination?
Where is the nomination?
I nominate Susan Miller.
I'm gonna not accept. I appreciate it, but I'm gonna say no thank you.
I'm gonna nominate Inez Brown Trout.
I will take nomination, Dr. Claus, on the staff man. For the office of vice chair, we have 7 nominations for Commissioner Green.
Now,
Yeah, 7 votes. For Commissioner votes, we have that.
so this is for, the secretary. So obviously, we could not have, Chair Woolsey or vice chair or a nomination for secretary.
I nominate me, Marilyn Clifford.
I nominate
Nominate you? Okay.
Ronald Rapp.
That's it, so the, nominations of anybody else.
Do we have 3 nominations? employee office, the secretary, and one vote for the crowd, 2 votes for the speaker, and 4 votes for Mr. Lax.
Congratulations. Let him do validation. All right, oral and written petitions. Oh, congratulations. Fire bylaw. And thank you. I only just belongs to you.
Yep. All right, yep.
I just want to say really quickly, thank you to Commissioner Chair Clifford. She's been phenomenal. I think y'all would all agree. She has been so pleasant, energetic, really fast, and fair, giving us all a chance to talk and give our input. But I just really appreciate all you guys. Thank you.
Okay, we'll continue the meeting with oral and written petitions. Each speaker gets 3 minutes, and anybody comes in, you get the sign in. Public comment period. The Commissioner is interested in hearing your concerns, but speakers should not expect Commission action or deliberation on subject matters brought up during the public comment period. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, and no person or relevant impact will be permitted. Comments should be relevant to the Commission's scope of responsibility and the statutory authority. Topics requiring further investigation will be referred to the district manager. Will Connor? You can speak. Would you like to speak?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Your comment is fine, but
David?
My name is Will Connor. Russell County Town, three.
And what was the name of the area? I'm sorry?
Everton Point.
There,
Everton. Okay. My company is Engineering Record, we do the original design drawing. That's how I got back involved. Also in attendance here, is the president of the Fairfield Point HOA, Dave Smith. This issue has been happening, and we continue to have a position that has been lives, so they're very proceeding to be active. HOA is controlled by the municipality as the sewer billing rate based on the CWS water design. In this case, it's a single sewer meter serving the HOA. So the rate sheet, CSD rate, the monthly base fee for a single sewer meter is $144. However, the monthly bills have been averaging much higher. For example, the August 22 bill is $1,557. Base fee for usage. For 10 units, $1,557 opposed to $158 per unit. These numbers are just a bill if there were 10 separate sewer units. Not. Each town home is being served by 2 water services. But also water service buildings that they show that they consider us they have a 1 2 not 2. Building rate for a single 3-quarter meter is $21.06. 10 units will be billed with those 10 separate 3-quarter services. The total bill will be approximately $218 plus monthly building rate for a single 2-inch meter is $144. Very point down out of the residents, not the PSC has really been talking about keeping the residential rate reasonable for residential use. Very point down out of the current paying monthly charge is the equivalent to the design monthly residential charge of 66 homes in 12 months. HOA, each unit is using a separate meeting. In reviewing the James Island PSA bylaws, there does seem to be, I really thought it wasn't recognized, but I do consider it is recognized as it says there be billed for single meeting. There's nothing in there about billing for non-existent. Very straightforward like that. So, we would like to request the PSC help with the compromise billing rate to acknowledge our actual food is appropriate for the speed. There will appear to be probably two options to resolve the issue. Suggestion has been made that we already have 10 2,400 meters installed and 2 meters removed. We have solicited bids from utility contractors. The concrete project, one contractor declined to provide a quote, another team has $38,000. Anyway, the other option would be to consider proposals to be implemented with the PSC building rate stated. Build the HOA and building rate for single point meter. That is not service to the
And we'll do the budget after that.
I can see it, so.
Right.
And that's the same thing, right?
Not what,
Just understanding that to the whole commission. Thank you.
Anyone else? Nathan Johnson?
Good evening to everyone. For those in attendance as well. I'm familiar with many of the faces that are here. There's newly met Paul, which, you know, is family, his family as well. So I just want to congratulate all the new elected commissioners to your position here on the council. Chairperson Kathy Mosey, also Mr. Brent Grant as vice, and also Secretary Ronald Lackey. Just want to say welcome. The other thing is, I'm just okay just to say that I'm looking forward this year to a almost tentative commission for reviewing of our personnel during the natural disaster. Also, I come to see how this commission is going to run for the next couple of years and how we're working together to get things accomplished. So, you know, when you don't work together, things just get to be a little complicated, difficult, and it pushes things down the road just a little too far. And when it needs to be actually challenged and taken care of right then. The other thing is too, when you're thinking about picking each one of the commission as a chairperson of a different department, please consider us all as equal and not one department better than another department, because I hear things all the time that we are team, and I'd like to see that a little more this year. And also, I just want to say congratulations to all of you.
Okay, item number 5, consent agenda, public hearing December 12th, and regular commission meeting December 12th. Make that
Second.
any comments or corrections on those two? Roll call vote, please. Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner St. Clair,
Yes.
Commissioner Clifford,
Yes.
Commissioner Grant,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Moses,
Yes, and just a point, that Mr. Watson and Mr. Campbell weren't at this meeting. So they wouldn't be voting on the minute. Well, I mean, they want to. I mean, that's why they're not fair.
You can watch this as you read the minutes. Continue. Your rules. Yes. You can carry your own. Item 6, you are going to financial statement, audit report, law,
Turn it over to Gary Bailey.
For this year's presentation, I printed out something I thought would be a little bit easier. It's a 3-year comparison of the district. As you know, the audit report is quite thick, so what I've done to be successful is with all of our municipalities and such places, we kind of created a 3-year comparison. You can see kind of through COVID, what's been going on over the last 3 years here in the district. And it's been helpful. And so, as you know, we got started a little bit later this year due to some of the flooding issues. But I thought they did a great job of all of the issues here to come around with the server, and we didn't have any problems really. We had, by the time we got there, through the audit, on the audit, they had everything, and everyone that works in the accounting and finance, they had everything together. So no problems there as far as being able to find backup and everything they asked for. But just a side note, I think Ed does a really good job for you, very intelligent. And, we lost during COVID audit profession, auditors, 17% of auditors quit. Almost 25 auditors quit in the last 3 years. So finding accounting folks now is just like any position. We have everyone that's dealt with labor, and it's very difficult to hold on to the good people. I would say that. So, with that being said, I'm going to kind of go over this first page here, give it one. This is your 3-year look back, 22, 21, 20. And as you know, you sort of have 2 entities in one as far as how you collect revenue. Fire and public safety is paid for by property taxes, and then wastewater is paid for, and solid waste is paid for by user fees of charges. So that's kind of why you have 2 breakouts here. And so the first one here at the top, you can see property taxes has increased a little bit, about $100,000 from 21 to 22. Grants was down. Most of that 21 is in the dollars that came in. So your overall revenue, and then you had all the other little fees and things coming in. A good portion of that is the fireman's 1% money. So you can see overall your revenue was down by 108,000 from 21 to 22, up from 28. And then the next level down with your expenses.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
can you step out first?
Sure.
Thank you.
The next level is your operating expenses. One reason I like to do it this way is I want you to see there's a line here called operating income. So that's just going to be your revenue and your operating expenses. Before you pay debt service, before you invest in capital assets, I'm trying to show you just on operations, does the district on the fire side, does it put the tax rate? Because obviously you need that to be a positive number to pay debt service, to invest in capital assets, to put some away in the reserve account. You can see the expenses overall were up about 204,000, almost 7.7 million in 22. But that operating income, we generated almost 2.6 million in operating income. That was down a little bit in 21, which is almost 2.9 million, down about 300,000, which is, like I said, revenue was down 100, expenses were up 200, 300. So that's really important. As I said, when you go to the next level there, you can see you have 1.3 million in debt service. So debt service alone eats up about half of your operating income. And then, so the remaining part is going to be capital outlay, which wasn't very much in 22. It was almost 44,000. But you did have a nice bump on sales tax debt this year, which you don't normally have of 1.3 million. So overall, your changes in that position there at the bottom is 2.5 million, down from 21 to 6.2 million. Again, the operating income, I think, is really the line you want to focus on, because that's the line that, again, it generates the cash to pay debt service, to invest in capital outlay. And then the next one down, and feel free to stop me if I'm going through the question. The next section is the wastewater and solid waste. Again, it's charges for services, not property tax. You can see the revenue, overall revenue is up about $1 million, a little over $1 million from 21 to 22. Big portion of that was the 8.5% plan increase, and then others with the additional services, things like that. So you're up about $1 million, and then you look down. So I'm sorry it's confusing, but GASB does this to you. So when you're looking at the business type, you have depreciation in there. You'll see 1.5 million. That's a non-tax item. And then you'll see that OPEB and pension, which is a negative 1.2 million. What those two numbers, both of those are non-tax items. So your true operating expense is the wastewater line of 6.271 million. That's down from 6.4 million the previous year. So what the credit is, 1.2 million, is, as you know, the state retirement fund is running a deficit in the hole. So every entity, like the town, like the public service district, like every participant in that retirement has an amount allocated to them for the debt. Well, the good news is in 22, the liability decreased. So when it decreases, that's a credit. Again, it's a non-tax item, but you have to record it on your book. So that's why you got, and the reduction in the OPEB. So that's why you got that negative 1.2 million there. So your net change and you're changing that position for the business type activity is 2.8 million, up from 706,000 in 21. And then you have interest expense and a little bit of sale of assets of 44,000. Net change is almost 2.5 million on the business side. Now, what's interesting really is the next page is it breaks down some of the expenses. If you look at, again, I have the fire, public safety on the top, and then the wastewater, solid waste, and bottom. You can see on the fire that roughly 82% of your expenditure is salary benefits, 6.2 million. And that's been very consistent over the last 3 years, in that 80 to 82% range. The next largest expenditure that the town has, this doesn't include debt service, would be just your total maintenance. That runs somewhere 4.8 to 5.5% over the last 3 years. And then you can see fuel and diesel. Of course, that's gone up over the last year, so that went from roughly 3%. Then non-health insurance, and then utilities, office supplies, cleaning is the last part. So these 5 categories actually make up about 92% of all the expenditures of fire. So the other things are just minor things that you move here and there. But as you can see, that's your breakdown on your expenditures. And then on the sewer side, a little bit different. You can see salary and benefits It's typically gonna be in that 20, low 23%. It's 11% again because of that big debt credit and pension credit in there. Typically 20%. Your highest cost on the sewer side is, high 30 to 40% sewer treatment cost. 2.5 million, that was your highest expense on the wastewater. Then the maintenance is roughly 5 to 6%. The depreciation is roughly the highest, almost anywhere from 18 to 20%. The non-health insurance and utilities. Again, so these 6 items on the business side or the wastewater side is roughly 85 to 90%. I just thought you might like to see kind of where the major expenditures of each of those departments, where it gets spent. Obviously, with people, they provide all the services, and that's a huge part of your expenditure. The next page is how it all sort of falls out into your balance sheet. Your cash account, that right way, liability. And the first one here is, again, the fire, the governmental side, the one that's funded by property taxes. You can see that your cash is about 6.6 million unrestricted cash. 6.6 million, that is up about $500,000 from the previous year. That's roughly 10 months of operating cash if you're looking at it just on operating cash standards. A little bit, pretty close. 10.4 this year, about 9.8 last year, but up a good bit from it was only about 6 months of operating cash. And as you know, when you go out and buy equipment, if you got a grant or if you have to get a loan, we'll use up that cash fairly quickly for the new engine or other equipment that's so expensive. So you may have 10 months of operating expenditures there, but as you know, a big purchase can even be that very quickly. The other items there, restricted cash, most of that is debt service requirements. As you see down below, you have 10.4 million in debt. Most of that is geo bond, 7.5 of the geo bond, 2.8 is capital leases. A lot of this other things is very similar to last year. You didn't have very much additions on the capital asset side, so actually quickly depreciation, capital assets went down from last year. You don't have very much, and you guys see things, don't have a whole lot of accounts payable out there in year end. You can see where your pension number went. It went from 9.2 to 7.5. And then your OPEB, with the changes you made there, has reduced quite a bit as well, the obligation there. And then you come on down and you'll see that debt number. The debt got paid down about $1 million in 21. 22. So overall, your net position for on the fire side is about 13.6 million. It jumped up a good bit from last year due to good operations and due to the change in the OPEB. And then the last page is the balance sheet for the wastewater, solid waste side of things. And you can see there, cash jumped up significantly from 21 to 22, up to 9.3 million. And so that's quite a number of operating months, almost 18. That's wastewater and the cost of generating or replacing systems, repairs and maintenance on those systems. As you know, you have some planned upgrades, but that number can be up really fast. We have a lot of water and sewer entities around the state, and $2 to $3, $4 million, $5 million projects can be beat up too fast on that. But right now, you're in good shape as far as having some ability to fund some of these, depending on the size of some of these projects. But you do have a healthy amount of debt at $20.3 million, as you can see. So your debt service requirement on the debt alone next year is roughly $1 million, or 1.5 million. So, and I forgot to mention the debt service on fire side next year is about 1.4 million. So in debt payments alone, the district will have to pay about $3 million in debt service and interest next year on the existing debt. But overall, I mean, the district is in a good position. It's in a better position than it was in 20, for sure. The cash balance is improved, which helped pay the debt service, pay for the debt, plan for the future. I have a lot of water and sewer entities who say they plan now for 4 years from now. And so that's kind of what you're doing. The hard task is not how much money to spend now for the future. Obviously, Congress doesn't understand. You guys know how to handle the operation. So, but that's pretty much it. We really, I think, as far as the district, we seem to be in the trend is going up as far as your financial position improving over the last 3 years through all of this. I mean, you have a lot of plans in the future, a lot of projects, but this is a snapshot now, and as far as the audit goes, I felt like it was smoothly and there. Now, that's a lot of information from that. Any questions?
More questions for Jay. What is the transfer from general fund to the public fund? 8 million? 3.
On what area provided?
Yeah, the general fund transferred about 1.9 to the water, to the wastewater every year. Yeah.
I have to go look.
Right now, there's about, you saw, there's about 3 million owed to the general fund from the wastewater plant at 630.
Is that money back?
Right now, I mean, it's money that the wastewater owes the general fund. Yeah.
That it just was owed to the fund?
Until you transfer it back.
Okay.
Yeah, or you pass something to say, we're gonna forgive the wastewater of that $3 million. But right now, yes, the general fund owes the $3 million from the wastewater fund.
Well, thanks for the audit. I think it's a lot clearer this year than the past.
Thanks, just curious, the audit report's pretty good. You like, this is my own insight, representing, you like having a 3-year kind of look back, or that help? Okay.
Yeah, I think
All right.
it's very
Okay,
good.
but I know because that's kind of the year going back.
You go the other way from
Yeah.
20, 21, 22 that way?
Right, yeah, just.
I'll blame my wife, she's left me. Yeah, I can see that. I think it's probably following a lot of our audit reports when we prepare audits, and you would, 2 years, you always have the newest year to the left. And so we're probably just following our habits of, yeah, I'll keep that. Well, we're gonna head out. Y'all have a good night.
Yes, that's great.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Item number 7, ordinance review and procurement ordinance number 006-004, 2012-002, and 2014-002, all final versions. I've got a message to get forward.
I've got a message for so this can go to the administrative committee first. Because this is an administrative issue, this has kind of come out of nowhere, and I think it's important because we've been told people trying to come and demonstrate to the community, that this really needs to go to the administrative committee first. So I make a motion to this part. More discussion from me?
No, I've got, Dane, explaining,
Yeah, so the ordinance repealing the procurement ordinance, the continual effort to replace the current procurement ordinance with an updated procurement resolution. That's the next item on the agenda. I'm not expecting any action on that, but I wanted to provide the draft of the procurement, resolution. For the benefit of the new commissioners, we've replaced the district wastewater collection system use and rate ordinance with a resolution. The same scenario is true for the district solid waste ordinance was replaced with a resolution managing solid waste, and the district annual budget ordinance was replaced with the annual budget resolution. And so the procedure still includes publicly advertising the procurement resolution 2 weeks in advance of the public hearing, typically held 30 minutes prior to the district's regularly scheduled meeting. And so we established the agenda for the regular meeting and begin directly after the 6:30 public hearing. And so the major changes you have for number 8 is the language associated with resolution instead of ordinance. And you will see a theme throughout the proposed resolution for procurement as the $50,000. And that's the theme as you go through there. We're not changing that top theme. So anything $50,000 or above is the same. So you'll notice that, say, in the $50,000 for section 207, purchasing limitations and authorizations requiring competitively sealed bids, that still holds 50,000. The 50,000 theme holds true for the section 307, so source procurement, and section 3308 for emergency procurement. You have a $50,000, anything over $50,000 goes to the commission, and there's, competitively bid. So what you'll notice is right on the
Not to prolong this, because we're going to be here all night. There's a major change on page 21 about the sale of real property, not going through a second reading of public hearing. That's a major change. And the fact that you didn't mention that first is really, really interesting. Okay? So we have 2 real property issues in executive session tonight. There's a major change. This is inappropriate to do. Now, when we always have in the purchasing ordinance, on page 21 under real property, sale of property may not occur until, okay, from a language. This is the new language. Sale of property may not occur until approval upon second reading. Okay? The new language is that the sale of property can occur when a resolution directs the sale, which is what's before us tonight. So, we have a contract with Farley for another buyer. We have 2 other contracts with Farley, where we have public reading, public hearing, and second reading. So, this is to allow a wiki real estate deal tonight. So if y'all want to do that, go ahead and do that. But this needs to go through administrative committee and be looked at. We don't just change public hearings and second readings when all of James Island hears about what happens to our successful residents.
And so this was sent, obviously, after the finance director and myself and kind of one of the directors, and obviously we sent it to legal review. No ordinance or resolution comes in front of the commission without being looked at by legal review. And so when Chip weighed in, the other thing I wanted to talk about on there is in section 4, method of construction contract management. The option for construction manager at risk was added as an option, so the members of the commission remember that the architectural presentation in October of 2022 was that the town of Mount Pleasant recently used the construction manager at risk option during the construction of its most recent fire station. And so with uncertainty associated with construction pricing due to problems with supply chain, the construction manager at risk approach would provide the district with a guaranteed maximum price and a partnership between the architectural firm, the construction manager, and the district at a much earlier point in the construction process.
Again, I hate to interrupt, but this is community business. We have a big agenda tonight, we have a big agenda for the meeting. This is committee business for administrative committee, which I know has appeared for several years.
I thought it would be the state law or our, minimum act that we had to have 2 readings before we were.
I also like to point out that we found out 2.5 years ago that all our ordinances need to become resolutions. We didn't take this up. All of a sudden, we have real estate tonight, and here it comes. I made the motion to defer, I believe Mr. Cantrell, I believe Mr. Cantrell seconded it, and I would ask for the chair to please call for a vote on the motion to defer. To administrative committee.
The ordinance, we talk about the purchase agreement and ordinance for the sale of the property. We don't have a new resolution, therefore this has to go by ordinance.
Okay, again, it's a major change in the way we do business. There are major aspects of real property. Cannot have a public hearing and a second reading. I understand the public hearing would be maybe associated with the resolution.
Right,
I need to look at it again.
right, so that would be,
But
Yeah,
really,
you would have to go through the process of publicly advertising prior to, so 2 weeks before the public hearing, you would have to advertise in the paper and then have a public hearing, just as we have done in the previous, because we still have to go by ordinance. And so this is going by ordinance with a first reading, publicly advertising, public hearing, second reading, there's no change to the
there's a change
process.
in the second reading. It's taken out what you brought to this night. On page 21.
Right, and so,
What
what,
section are you looking at? Okay, I'm on, if anybody can even find the ordinance, it's so long, this is committee work, it's on page 21. This is all about real property, Article 9. Section A. It pertains to real property transactions. The following rules shall apply to the purchase and sale of district-owned real property. What has been PSC procedure and what we've done, always until tonight, I guess, possibly, is in number 2, the sale of property may not occur until an approval of an ordinance upon second reading. I understand we're changing all ordinances to resolutions. I get that. But what they have deleted in the new copy, sale of property may not occur until approval of a resolution correcting the same. So they have taken out second reading. So again, it's here because they want to change it. I am letting y'all know this is administrative committee work. We need to look at the entire purchasing ordinance. This is important. Our role, our duty is financial as a public service district. So I made a motion to defer. Mr. Cantrell seconded it. All right, let's vote on it. Why was it taken out? I guess that's my question.
so we don't do ordinances.
Okay,
The
that's
reason-
not.
The reason we have an ordinance here tonight is because we have to do everything by ordinance, okay? So what you have is the ordinance of first reading, publicly advertised, public hearing, second reading. Whereas what we have, look, that doesn't change anything for tonight, because the transaction associated with it doesn't, it has to go by ordinance, because we don't have a purchasing resolution.
So
So that doesn't
require
change.
a second reading?
What that,
So it would require a second reading? That's not really a resolution, it doesn't say second reading. So,
it's not required for, a second reading isn't required for any resolution. It is a public, advertising, a public hearing, and first reading adopted.
Commissioner Morgan, I can probably answer your question. I think I moved on that. The second reading is a requirement for ordinance. It's still required by state law to have a public hearing when you sell property, but your legal act itself is not required to be for the sale of personal property. If you were to operate through a resolution, you would still require a public hearing, but you would.
I appreciate that, I appreciate that, but I believe that there's nothing to preclude us to require the second reading to the sale of real property. Whether it's by resolution, whether it's by, write on a blackboard, whether whatever it's by.
Whatever was about.
Yeah, surely we can require a second reading. Thank you.
And I think, item 8, the resolution, that is not up for action. Draft.
Correct.
Put in the packet, for discussion, is not an action, vote on that.
I just wanted to be able to provide the updated draft version after administration review.
If I'm going to make a point, tonight in executive session, you're taking up the sale of our biggest asset in this district. We will be making a decision on a draft contract that's been provided to us. So in our February meeting, which is soon, because February is before month, we will be having a public hearing, and we will have a resolution before us, if we choose to do so, for the sale of our greatest asset. And it will be finalized that evening. So that's what you brought to us. The attorney said that, you know that, other folks know that.
You would still have to, say, the property was being sold in 14 and 15, subject to the ordinance, that is what we would take right now. You're not changing that in any way, you're not voting on a resolution. This is more for future sales, it has nothing to do with the sale of the US active tonight. That sale is going to be done by ordinance.
And there would be a second reading of the ordinance until the property is closed.
Why would it be governed by ordinance in public service districts on allowed to have ordinances?
Y'all governed by ordinance for many years. Right now, your bylaws say that it's done by ordinance. So this property is being sold pursuant to your current bylaws, say by ordinance. But that purpose of that resolution is
Dave, I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the last one. It is the last. You had a solid waste ordinance, you had a wastewater ordinance. This is the last ordinance that you need to get rid of. The only way to get rid of an ordinance is without ordinance. So once you get rid of this, then you can operate by resolution like all others.
we're here, let's just talk about right now, instead of putting it off to the, why would any of us want to give up a second reading on a sale of real property? We're selling for y'all, well, certainly, that's the problem.
That is what we're doing.
Nathan just said, stop putting things down the road, and I think we should, we're here, let's get this over with.
Madam Chair, thank you. Back to your original point of 7 and 8, these are not items that need any action on. We've given you the draft of it. So whenever we have comments back then, hey, why don't we do it this way? Then that's how you do it first. But as of tonight, we don't have to, there's not a, we're not, is that correct, Alan?
The ordinance
7 and 8
repealing
are not actionable.
Seven is the first reading of the ordinance.
eight would be no action.
You need to vote on the motion.
And again, I would ask that this go through committee, like we've been urged to do everything we do that's important. This is our procurement ordinance or resolution is critically important to the district. The amended revised version that's thrown at us takes out a second reading on the property purposes.
Okay, call that, so, if you vote yes, we're gonna put this one down the road. Vote no, we're gonna, return to the vote and vote on it, whether we do it or not, okay?
The motion is to defer, we are to the vote.
Either vote on this tonight or before it. Commissioner Brownfield,
No.
Commissioner Cantrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Clifford,
No.
Commissioner Grant,
Yes.
Commissioner Latson,
Yes.
Commissioner Middleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood, no. Motion carries 4-3. The version is unanimous. All right, item number 8, resolution for the procurement and disposition of assets.
And that's what you have in the package, is that draft for a resolution for the procurement of disposition of assets. The last, part of the disposition of assets, you will see that in Article 10, Section 10, 101 provides the district with more flexibility when items don't sell publicly on gov deals. That's our go-to, is to go on gov deals, and people can sell it that way. During auction, so the middle paragraph states that for items that are broken beyond repair, and the district manager determines that the salvage value is non-existent, or the proceeds from the sale of such items do not likely offset the cost of incurred to sell, and such items may be disposed of in a method that is best serves the interest of the district. And so
I'd
that,
like to make a motion that we, defer this as a part of Article 77. We cannot pass a new resolution for procurement until we begin the process of reviewing the old one. So if we deferred 7, we got to defer 8. So motion to defer resolution for procurement. Number 8.
Well, I'd like to hear this explanation. I thought,
Well, you can't do it legally.
you said that's one, not an action item. You just explaining to us what's going on. You can say,
that, so the 9 is the district manager report. And so in there, you have both a November and a December district manager report. We had a condensed timeframe to be able to get the packet out for the meeting the 12th of December. So we closed both November and December, and then we provided the management reports. I'm going to focus on December. We still have some stuff to talk about. So in there, you saw that basically the members of the commission will note that through December of 2022, the district is 6 months or 50% of the way through the fiscal year. And there's a page that looks like this. It's just a half a sheet. That's the roll up by cost center in each one of the funds. And year to date, I'll say for the general fund revenue, you'll see that's only at 11.5%. And so when Gary Bailey was talking about having a reserve, it's because we have to operate 9 to 10 months throughout the fiscal year without really getting the revenue. And so as you got your property tax bills that went out for the general fund, right? You got that in October. They're not due until January. The county kind of takes their sweet time to get those distributions to us. Same thing with the city, Valley Beach. And so we're not getting our general fund revenue in increments that line up with the 50% target. And so we have collected the 1,146,000 versus an anticipated over 9.9, almost 10. And so hopefully by the March meeting, I'll be able to tell you, hey, we got our disbursement from January and February from the county, and we got walloped with some revenue. So that, I'll keep you posted as that comes in, as we get those big checks. Total general fund expenditures are at 48.3, and what I'm talking about there is the actual expenditures are 4,812,000 versus the budgeted 9,971,000. So we're at 48.3, just slightly below the target of 50%. So we're pretty close, slightly below. You will see that the total wastewater revenue is only at 37.7%. And in that wastewater revenue, you have large items in there associated with what we planned for of the sale of Bill's Bluff property, what we thought the deal was going to be when we made the budget. The same thing, you see total wastewater expenditures, 4,350,000 versus that 14,176. That's only at 30.7%, well below that 50% target. And again, the sale of the Village Bluff property was contingent on the improvements to Signal Point. So at this point, we are going to collect less revenue and expend less. And we'll go into more details on that at the upcoming Ways and Means Committee meeting, and we can give you more real-time figures on that. I appreciate everybody's effort to adopt a highway. Cleaning up on Saturday, the 14th of January. Many hands make light work. The PPI was clean, so thank you for your continued efforts. The next date for Adopt a Highway volunteering opportunity is Saturday, the 11th of March at 8 a.m. We meet at the corner of Fort Johnson and Folly Road. Again, the district thoughts and prayers continue for the Gilliard family. We mourn the loss of Sandra Gilliard, vehicle operator in the solid waste department. Thank you for all the district employees and commissioners that attended Sandra's viewing and funeral last Friday and Saturday. I know the family is very appreciative of all the support from the JIPSC. Our next meeting will be the 13th of February, and that is the first Ways and Means Committee meeting at 6:30, the 13th of February, 2023. We'll have Bob Cameron, the Compass Municipal Advisors. He's going to help speak to the commission, give an update of where we're at, as well as the 13th of March. Lawrence Flynn, with Post Flynn, is the commission bond counsel. And he provides training to commissioners at the SCSPD conference. And so instead of 6:30, I'd like to propose a 6 p.m. meeting for that Ways and Means Committee meeting, so that Lawrence can present and do a new commissioner training while we have him down here to talk. And so he presents that at the leadership, at the leadership program for the SCSPD, at the conference, the annual conference, and he works with many special purpose districts throughout the state as far as bond issuance and debt issuance. So we have some municipal advisors, Bob Cameron coming the 13th of February, and Lawrence Flynn with Post Flynn Bond Council the 13th of March, 2023. With that, that's my district manager report.
All right, item 10, no report, correspondence 9. 12, are there anybody signed up for oral and written questions? Okay, I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss purchase agreements and the ordinance for the sale of property associated with fire station project. Alright. Mr. Montrose?
Yes.
Mr. Cantrell?
Yes.
Mr. Clifford?
Yes.
Mr. Grant? Yes. Mr. Lassie? Mr. Middleton?
Yes.
Ms. Green? Yes. Motion carries. Okay, we're back in session, you ready, Tamara?
Yes.
Okay, we're now back in session.
And, based on the executive session, I'd like to make a motion to defer 14 and 15, till we get a final decision. Roll call vote.
Roll call. Ms. Clifford, can you repeat the motion before until when?
Till, we get more clarification of the agreement itself, the terms of it.
Roll call. Commissioner Brown Crouch.
Yes.
Commissioner Cantrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Clifford.
Yes.
Commissioner Grant.
Yes.
Commissioner Watson.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Commissioner Wood. Yes, if there's no other business, we will make a motion to adjourn. Roll call vote. Commissioner Brown Crouch.
Yeah.
Commissioner Cantrell. Commissioner Clifford.
Yes.
Commissioner Grant.
Yes.
Commissioner Watson.
Before I said yes, I wanted to, make a statement that it was a hard decision, and you made the vote early for the kids. So, when I came here, I kind of was going wrong and, trying to go to the next place, but I had to listen to my constituents. Back when I was calling, like 15, as I was walking through the door. A couple of them called me previous to them, so, anyone that got me elected, so I'm going to do it this way. Yes.
God works in mysterious ways.
Yes.
I think sometimes things happen for a reason.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Commissioner Middleton.
President.